let's start. Remember to stay muted unless you raise your hand first and I call you, then you unmute and speak, okay? So let's start. Today we're going to learn all about editing. Now, editing for PSLE, do you know how many marks is editing? Anybody?
No.
No one? Okay, editing for PSLE, there's only one set of questions, okay? It will be 12 marks, 12 questions. Okay, so for editing for PSLE, right, there will just be a passage, and then for the word that is spelled wrongly or it's a grammar mistake, there'll be a box. Okay, you're supposed to write the correct answer on top of the box. There is no helping words, it's not MCQ. So you either know the answer or you don't. Okay, so it's 12 marks, 12 questions. Now, out of the 12 questions, listen very carefully. Out of the 12 questions, 6 of them are spelling mistakes, which means the words are purposely spelled wrongly. 6 of them are grammar mistake. GR is grammar, SP is spelling. Grammar mistake, which means the tense is wrong. For example, it's supposed to be in present tense. They wrote in past tense, so you must change the tense, okay? But the spelling is correct. So if it's a grammar mistake, the spelling is correct, okay? But the grammar is wrong. Spelling mistake, the grammar is correct. The spelling is wrong. So whenever it's a spelling mistake, you don't change the grammar, which means you don't change the tense, okay? You don't change anything. You just change the spelling alone. Okay, so remember this. So when you see your editing passage for PSLE, the first thing you do is to count how many you can find is spelling and how many grammar, because there's only going to be 6 spelling, there's only going to be 6 grammar. So if you spot more than 6 spelling, that means you know something is wrong already. So you need to fix that. Okay. Now, of course, for practice, they've given you 2 sets of editing. Okay, but only 1 for PSLE. Now, synthesis and transformation, anyone knows how many marks is it for PSLE? Anyone? No, there's only 5 questions. Each of them is 2 marks. So it's 10 marks altogether. So each question is 2 marks. Okay, so that is synthesis and transformation. So let's look at today's AND riddle first. Okay, now this AND, what do you call someone who is very oppressive and cruel? This word is usually used to refer to a ruler who's like a dictator. Like Hitler, okay? Very cruel, very oppressive. Oppressive basically means cruel. They mean the same thing, okay? Harsh and cruel. Harsh and cruel. Now, can someone tell me what's the answer? Obviously, it ends with "and." Anyone? Someone who is harsh and cruel.
Ruland.
Ruland. There's no such word. Thank you for trying. Give yourself 1 point for trying, Ariano. Yes, Mani?
Cruel.
There's no such word. Give yourself 1 point for trying. Yes, Rohan?
What means cruel?
Cruel means someone who is very controlling, who is not nice, the opposite of nice, right? Who treats you very badly, okay? Very, like, treats you like a slave. They torture you, they abuse you, okay? They treat you very, very badly, okay? That's someone who's cruel. They chop off your legs and hands and they don't give you food, that kind of thing. So someone who is cruel and oppressive is called this. I'm going to write it down. This is the word. Have you heard of this word? Tyrant. So a tyrant, if I say, okay, Hitler was an oppressive tyrant, meaning, or Hitler's a tyrant, meaning he's an oppressive dictator. Okay, that means he's very cruel and he's very oppressive. So if you know history, you know that Hitler was a tyrant, right? He abused the Jews, right? He killed so many Jews. So someone who is a ruler, ruling a government, but it's only one person choosing every literal move, right? That's a tyrant. Of course, in Singapore, we have a government consists of many people, not just one person saying have all the
Can
rules.
I
Yes.
ask something?
Yes, you
Do
can.
you know who is Jeffrey Dahmer?
Sorry, say again?
Do you know who is Jeffrey Dahmer?
Jeffrey Dahmer, yeah, why? Oh, why you ask? Is there a reason why you ask? Do you like him? How do you feel about him? Wait, you said Jeffrey, right? Is he your friend? What was his full name? I only heard Jeffrey, I couldn't hear the second part.
I heard Jeffrey Tyrant.
Jeffrey what? Wait, let Ariano speak. Yes, Ariano, I'm waiting for you.
You know Jeffrey Dahmer, that guy?
You mean the American serial killer?
Yes.
Yeah, I heard Dahmer. So I was like, what Dahmer are you talking about? Why are you learning about him? Oh, so how do you find out about Jeffrey Dahmer, the serial killer?
I learned it
In
from
school
Google.
or from Google? You mean you just Google serial killer names? So you're interested in serial killers? Interesting. Yeah, I learned something new about you. Yes, anyway, so that's I mean, I think you thought about the word tyrant, right? So tyrant. So if I say my mom is like a tyrant, meaning I'm saying that she's very cruel and very oppressive, I have no freedom with her. She tells me everything what I should do, and she controls my life. So that's a tyrant. So sometimes you describe people as a tyrant, meaning they're just cruel and oppressive. That's what it means. Yes, Nico?
My friend say that if you eat cereal, then you become a serial killer.
If you what? Serial killer? Say it.
If you eat cereal, then you'll become a serial killer.
That's a joke, right? Cereal as in CERE, the cereal. Yes. Because they sound the same. They sound the same. They're homophones. We're going to look at that later as well. Good. Thanks for sharing that. Okay. Now here, let's look at the first set of the editing. I'll choose a color. Who wants to choose my color? I see Money's hand is raised. Okay, yes. What color?
What was that again? Is that golden?
Golden, as in this one?
No, the other one.
Can
The
you
one
circle
next to it. The other side. Next
mean
to
this-
it.
this one?
Mm.
Is it rose gold, silver, or brown? Oh, the brown one. The brown color. Okay, wait, let me hide this, and then I change my pen color to this. Okay.
They was circling a lot of colors just now. I think she was trying to make me choose them.
Okay, so here, oh yes, Nicole, you can clear my screen since you told the reader already. Thank you. Okay, now, how do you score full marks for editing? Okay, the first thing you need to know is when you read the passage, label on top of the word. Is it a grammar mistake or is it a spelling mistake? So write on top of the word, GR or SP. Okay, GR for grammar, SP for spelling. Then you count. You should only have 6 SPs and 6 GR. If you have more for any of these, you know there's some mistake already, okay? So now, if it's a spelling mistake, you only focus on the spelling. You do not change. So for example, if the word run is spelled wrongly, okay, it's spelled as RNU, for example, then you only change the spelling mistake to RUN. You don't change running. You don't add anything. You cannot change the tense, running or ran. Okay, you cannot change the tense. You only change the spelling. So if it's a spelling mistake, you only fix the spelling. You don't care about the grammar. But if it's a grammar mistake, which means the spelling is correct, but it's in the wrong tense or in the wrong word form, then you change the word form. You don't change the spelling, okay, vice versa, which I mentioned already. So here, this is already, I already said this already. So now this is an example. This is an example. So PSLE, this is how your editing will look like. Of course, it's going to be longer. I just given you like one sentence. So for PSLE, it will be like that. They will underline the word for you. They'll box it out on top. You need to decide if this word, is it a spelling mistake or is it a grammar mistake? So let's look at the word. In a normal world, boarding an airplane. Now, this word, do you think it's a spelling mistake or a grammar mistake? Anyone? Boarding. Yes, Rohan?
Spelling mistake.
Yes, very good. Okay, it's a spelling mistake. Of course, BORED is you feeling bored, right? It's a feeling. That's not how you spell boarding. And this one, number 2, is it a grammar mistake or a spelling mistake? Returns. Yes, Rohan?
It is a grammar mistake.
Very good. Give yourself 2 points. Okay. So 2 points, 1 for each. So yes, the first one is a spelling mistake. The second one is a grammar mistake. You know that number 2 is a grammar mistake because return is spelled correctly, right? You see RETURN, that's how you spell return. So the spelling is correct. So you know it cannot be a spelling mistake. Now for number 1, how do you spell boarding? Anyone? Boarding means you're getting onto the plane, right? Yes, Rohan?
BOARDING.
Yes. Correct. Okay, so that's all you do. You see, you cannot change to boarded. You don't change the tense. The tense remains the same because it's ing, your ing as well. Just only change the spelling. Same thing for here, grammar, which means the tense is wrong. So what should that be? Yes, give yourself a point, Rohan. Yes, Mani.
Returning.
Very good. Why?
It's
What's the
a gra-
clue? Yes, it's a grammar mistake. But why is it returning? Because you see boarding, right? The whole passage is in the ing, continuous tense, right? So that's why he also has to be continuous tense, same verb form, right? Continuous. So that's why it is returning. Okay, good. So that's the answer. I already wrote already.
Point?
Okay. Yes, give yourself a point. So this one is returning. And this one is boarding. Boarding means you are getting onto the plane. Of course, alighting means you're coming down. Okay, so now let's look at some common mistakes they love to test you on. Sequencing of vowels. So whenever a word has like two vowels side by side, you need to know the order of the vowels. How many of you, your teacher have taught you this rule? It is always I before E except C. Have you heard this before? Your teacher hasn't said this before. Okay, this is a grammar rule, spelling rule to help students remember the spelling. So for example, see these words. See, whenever a word, right, has the word I and E, right, it is always in the spelling of the word, it always has I first, then E. For example, diet, D-I-E-T, right? It's never D-E-I-T. However, except, so the rule is this, okay? I before E except C. Can you write it down? Write it down, very important. I always goes, so I before E. So I before E except after C. So here it is not C, right? This is D. So that's why it's I-E-T. But if you look at receive, it is C-E-I, not I-E, because it is after C. Do you understand? So that's one way to remember. Okay, whenever there is two vowels, most of the time this rule applies. Not all the time, but most of the time there are exceptions, and I will tell you. Okay, so here, so usually when it's I-E, it's always I first, then E. So that's why it says I before E, except after C. So like in this case, receive is after C. So you swap, it's C-E-I-V-E. However, there are exceptions. Like for example, if you hear the word I in the word neither, so you hear I, na, either, right? You hear the word I. So if you hear the word I, E-Y-E, in the pronunciation, then it's also E first and then I, not I and E. For example, neither is spelled as N-E-I-T-H-E-R because you hear the word I. N, either, neither. You hear the I sound. Next one, nay. Next one, wait. Wait, wait, right? Wait is also E first, then I. So there are some exceptions to this rule. It doesn't apply to everything, okay? And weird is just weird because weird is also an exception because it's a weird word. So it's W-E-I-R-D. It's not W-I-E-R-D. So it depends on the word. There are exceptions, but most of the time, this rule applies. Most of the time, not all the times, okay? And I've given you some other examples in your notes. So download the slides so you can look at them, okay? Next one, delicious, the sh sound. Sh is always O-U-S, right? Delicious, anxious. Sh is always I-O-U-S, I-O-U-S, right? Conscious, again, C-O-N, I-O-U-S. Obvious, again, O-V-V-I-O-U-S. So the order of the words, the us sound, okay? Now, this one, gauge. Gauge means to measure how well I'm doing something, okay? Now, this one is A-U usually makes the O sound, like autumn, like caught. Caught, C-A-U-G-H-T, right? This is the O sound, right? Caught. But here, it's not gotch, it's gorge, right? So it's pronounced differently. That's why you need to take note of the spelling. So some words, they just are spelled like they just remember, okay? So delicious. So these are sequencing of vowels, knowing which one comes first. If I see another riddle, Nicole, you can fill the screen later, you can ask the riddle. Next one. Repeated consonants. Some words have double letters. Consonants are every other letter other than A, E, I, O, U. So of course, R is not A, I, O, U. So you see, embarrass got 2 R, 2 S. Accommodate, 2C, 2M. Recommend, 2M. So some